All right. Let's do it. You ready?
Yeah.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Kenyatta Banks back in the building. You know what it is inside the Arsenal. I'm here, you here, we here. You know how we do. Anyway, Beast Mindy is back. Now, you might have heard her before, but now you get to see her in all her greatness. You know that word on the street is people thought you were an African-American so-called black woman.
Hey, guess what? Word on the street, let me just show you. Not.
Well, it's not a bad assumption to have in life. But
that's like the best assumption for me. You know me.
DMs
they
like,
don't know me.
It's like, she was dope, but like, is she black? I was like, well, the way her melanin set up.
It's debatable.
The vitamin D part of it.
It's debatable. I questioned my mom a couple of times, like, Ma, you sure?
You sure? Somebody did something somewhere, though.
Somewhere.
You all know.
Facts.
It is Black History Month. Which is kind of like...
Can we just talk about how it's BS that y'all got the month that is like the shortest month?
The shortest and
Except
the coldest.
for this year. I mean, you get one extra day.
And the coldest.
Yeah.
But now we be on, like, people who really be on it, it's like, man, it's every month. Because there's so much information, right? There's so many things out there that I never learned that will never be in the history book.
I learned something yesterday, but we won't talk about it on the podcast. It's dark. It's real dark.
Okay. Well, if you learn something that's more lighter,
yes, I will definitely.
We can keep it light, but if it's like darkish, I think it'll be okay. We don't want to go that far down the rabbit hole.
It is real dark.
You know what I mean? But I think that even listening to other people's podcasts, like, you get information and stuff now that you're like, man, no one ever taught me that. No one.
Right.
Why they never told me about this person or this person? Or like, here's the thing: is like you never hear about the so-called slaves who like fought back and rebelled, and like that's like always like, no, they were just submissive and they got beat, and
like nobody stood up for
like not a one,
not one.
But the Boondocks got a great episode where they fight back. But I guess Django.
Yeah.
Somebody knew something to be able to make that, to say, hey, there were some people who
were like, not today.
So we'll dabble in that a little bit. But before we get into that, because you're a fitness professional, we have sometimes text conversations about issues with inside the fitness arena, as far as like with instructors and stuff. So I kind of wanted to talk about like, what do you do when you face, adversity in the workplace, so to speak, when it comes to fitness? Because in a regular jobby job, right?
What is that?
You get to run to HR and send emails, and we're more like, hey man, I'm gonna take you in the back and we can go these rounds if you want. No, we don't do
that. Like, I'm gonna meet you at the bike rack at 3:30.
I'm gonna hit you with these kettlebell slings.
Just saying.
Maybe that's what that's for. But like, so what do you face? What have you faced? What are some instructor issues or just, hurdles that you had to overcome? Especially being that also, congratulations, because you have elevated into a new facility.
Yes.
We'll keep it at that.
They
don't pay me to shop them out.
They don't pay me either, but that's all right. Well, they pay me, but not to shop them
out.
True. Well, I mean, first off, I am a female. So there's like a whole situation of that in the fitness industry. I think that women tend to have to kind of prove ourselves on a slightly different level depending on what class you teach. Like, it's not a shock if a woman teaches Zumba. It's like, oh yeah, sure. It's going to be a woman teaching Zumba or whatever, but a woman teaching like a heavy lifting class, you have to fight to get men to believe in you. And so that's just one little part of adversity that I've faced, I would say.
So you think that's ego? It's funny you say that, because I was talking to Jessie Fresh today, and she actually had I call it a testosterone battle with a guy.
Yeah.
And no offense to him, I'm not throwing him under the bus or anything, but the fact that you said that, because she said that she had him doing, overhead kettlebell presses.
Yeah.
And he was holding the bell from the bell.
Right.
And she was telling him, listen, grab the handle. And he was like, no, I'm a big boy. I'm fine. And she was like, no, grab the handle. She said she had to go back and forth with him until he finally listened to her. And I said, well, I'm glad you handled that, because they were talking after class. She goes, afterwards we were fine.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, but that's the ego. That's the look at my big balls syndrome, right? Elephantitis
Yes.
game.
Yep.
And I said, because what y'all don't realize is, especially if you're in the front row of a class and you're doing off the wall stuff, some people don't listen to us
Correct.
at all.
They see
They're-
and then they're gonna do.
They're visual.
Yep.
And she said, yeah, a couple of the women started trying to do. So she's like, I said, yeah, it's not just about him. If you would have told me in this story that the kettlebell fell and knocked his fronts out, I would have been like, well, he got his lesson.
Yep.
But when you tell me other people are doing it,
Yeah.
that's the danger. And so for you people that take group fitness classes, especially if you're in the front row, it's not for you to just do your own thing. It's one thing to do options and
Right.
modifications, if
It's
you will.
almost like you have to earn the front row, so to speak. Like
Yeah.
you really should have to earn the front row because all eyes are going to be on you. Now, as an instructor, I see you when you're in the back. Like, you know how people try to hide in the back, like, ooh, I'll be back here because it's my first day or whatever, you know, like, no.
So I was telling
This room is not that big.
I'm
Like,
like,
I
listen,
see you.
this ain't TV, man. I could
Right.
come back there and I was like, listen, you feel this? This is real life, bro. This ain't TikTok or none of that.
Yeah.
So being a female, because I don't know that side, but
Right.
that makes absolute sense.
Oh yeah, it's a
Um,
constant. Like, and especially, I've had a couple classes lately where just because they're strong, okay, you're great, you're a man, you're strong, that's fine. Women are strong too, but when I come over to correct you, and mine was the same thing. It was an overhead kettlebell press, and this guy was pressing. If you don't know, you're not supposed to press a kettlebell with your hand like this.
Right.
It's like this. You punch the sky, right?
Wrist
And he's pressing like this. And when I corrected him, I was like, go like this. And he was like, it's fine. And I'm like, okay. Then I have to drop down my certification, which I hate doing. I
Right.
should not have to drop down. Do you know that I'm certified through the Honored Academy and I spent 16 hours learning kettlebells for 2 days? And it was just kettlebell work, that's it, for 16 hours.
Right.
So I know what I'm talking about, and I'm here to help you get stronger and get better, you know, and then it's okay. When I drop down all the letters and all the stuff behind my name, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, maybe she does know what she's talking about.
Because that's what people, well, I'm not saying that's what they want. I'm different in the sense that if you are the I know person, because I get this a lot,
Yeah.
especially in boxing.
Oh, for sure.
You know, there's so many details, and then I'm like, hey, just work on this today, or stand. I know.
Do
Okay,
you?
on to the next person.
Right.
You do whatever. Okay, you came here to do it your way. Have at it.
Mhm.
I'm trying to help you. You don't want. Okay, I know. And now I know who the I know people are.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll let you be. So
And that's a hard thing to do as an
It's-
instructor. It
it's
is
hard.
so challenging because our whole point is to get everybody to be at their at their level, push past their limit. And if I can, people don't want to go back to that foundation.
right.
And especially in my experience as a woman, especially men, they do not want to drop back down and get rid of all their heavy ass weights and just do a squat.
It's ego though.
Oh, it's
I took your
100%
kettlebell
ego.
class a whole one time, but I had to make sure, like, okay, something kind of heavy.
I mean, I messed with him. I was like, get that bell over there.
Right.
But I knew that I was just messing with you, and you knew that.
Because I don't care what class it is. I did a Barry's boot camp in Boston.
Mhm.
I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm not gonna grab fives, but I'm not gonna grab the heaviest weight and try to
Right.
show. I don't know what we about to do.
Yeah.
So I check my ego at the door. No matter, it don't matter if it's yoga, if it's Pilates,
Right.
whatever. And I think a lot of, especially with guys, they just, I lift weights in my 3 sets of 10 and I'm swollen this and that. And I'm
And
like,
then
bro,
when you look at their legs, you're like, bro, leg day?
here's what's funny about that. This is hilarious. I'm gonna post a video today. Another 10-year memory video.
Oh, yeah.
Popped up on my Facebook, and I was leg pressing like I think 16 or 18 plates, something crazy. And I'm like, because naturally I have not from the knee up, not my quads, but from like my calves and stuff
Yeah.
are small. But my dad's legs was like that.
Yeah.
But it's just funny because people think, oh, you don't do legs, and I'm like, no, they're strong.
Right.
They just don't look like tree trunks, and everybody's different in that
No,
way.
yeah,
but,
I know. I like to mess
But
with
most guys are that way, just like
Yeah.
the women is opposite.
Yep. Yeah.
On Thursday night, I do chest and back,
Mhm.
and one of the girls messaged me and said, hey, thank you because I'm feeling stronger, better, You know what I mean? And I said, I can see, and it's not just my class, she's doing other
Right.
stuff.
Oh
but
yeah.
she's not doing that many push-ups and bent over rows and all
Mm-hmm.
that. So she's excited, and I'm like, good. She goes, yeah, she said, I always been strong in my lower body.
Yep.
And so it didn't match my upper body. And I was like,
Yeah.
now we're going to balance the two
Mhm.
out. So with that, moving on.
Let's see what else. Well, there's another thing too. Sometimes as a fitness instructor, and I'm sure you can attest to this, when you have another instructor take your class,
Oh, yeah.
there's always that. That just recently happened. That was the chair. That was the chair. So what?
Okay, it was the chair.
It was the chair.
For real.
But like, I am the one with the microphone on. I am the one teaching the class.
Facts.
When you are coming to the class, whether you are an instructor or not, but specifically there are some instructors that really have a challenge taking off the student or the instructor hat. I'm just going to put on the student hat. It can be challenging. I get it because that's who we are. Like we thrive in that environment. But during the class, don't tell me that I don't know what I'm doing. Don't tell me, well, I work with this, so I know. All you have to do is this. Okay, that's great. Then you go do that at your job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like I would never in my life go up to any other profession and be like, yeah, you're doing that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'm never gonna like correct you when you're in the middle of your job.
But and I agree, but most people, I think, do that because they need something to make themselves feel better.
Oh, I mean,
There's something about like,
yes.
and not in a negative way, but like you're a walking thread.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's that. Yes, there's
It's
that.
facts. Like
Yeah.
I've been around you enough to see like, yo, she knows her stuff. She doesn't play. She knows how to have fun. She bounces.
Right.
She found her own voice.
Yeah.
Right? So you have all these elements that if someone's missing one of those elements, because they don't realize that there's actually elements to teaching in class
Right.
and building in class, then now you're striking, it's like a trigger for them.
Oh, it's that mirror. You know, like what makes you uncomfortable when you see someone is because you're seeing yourself. You're seeing maybe, oh, I'm lacking that.
Mhm.
You know, and so then you try to like kind of like one up that other person.
And that's the problem. One of the issues I see, like especially with group fitness, is that mentality.
Yeah.
The one up and the whatever. I don't go to other people's classes if they can't be dope enough for me to just be a student.
Right. Oh, yeah.
If
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
That's why. Is it not why I came to your classes? Like you were
Yeah.
one of the only instructors that I went to your classes.
And people
and
take
Jess.
it personal.
They
and I'm
take
like,
it
it's
so
not
personal.
but I know how to push myself on my own.
Right.
I wake up in the morning, I walk across the street, I work out.
Mm-hmm.
So I already have done the weightlifting.
Right.
But if I want to get out of, and I need, listen, you drive. I'm
Yeah.
going to ride shotgun and play on my phone. Right?
Yeah.
You get us there. Everyone
And that's one of the
doesn't
best
have that.
feelings as an instructor to be able to be a student and get something good out of it. Because it's really challenging to go to classes or to find instructors that I don't want to say I don't need an instructor to match my level because I don't know. I mean, we've already talked about my energy and how it's like through the roof and stuff like that. But I don't need that, but at the same time, I am a student and I don't want to carry the class. I've taken classes before where their instructor was like, man, thank you so much. Like, you really just had everybody going. Well, why am I the one having everybody going? That's your job.
You better take notes.
So, can I get your paycheck then?
Right.
Thanks,
At least give me half for
Right,
showing up
like,
and
do I
doing
get
your job.
commission? What do I get for that? You know?
But that's the other part because even instructors don't want to learn how to be better. Not necessarily at a new move or a new modality.
you can
or
learn
new
that's
whatever,
easy. Like, you can, that's easy.
But like,
stuff.
hey, you need to work on these things
Yes.
to make your class better.
Right.
And most of it starts inside, and they're like, no.
Well,
I'm good.
I think all of it starts inside.
Oh yeah.
As far as that goes.
Oh,
you know? Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. So it's one of those things, but I was here yesterday with Priscilla, who you know. Shout out to Priscilla.
Hey,
out there.
Priscilla.
Perez,
Woo!
PZP. And we got on the topic of, like, briefly, but enough. We were talking about as an instructor, having a passion and giving all this energy, and how it's so much better to go to another person who has that, because you recognize it
Oh my gosh.
right away.
And then you're immediately
and you're
like,
today is going to be great, right?
Yes.
And because when I got that from her without knowing that she was an instructor, I had to find out what she did. She was just in my boxing class randomly.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course, physically, he was like, oh, she's cute. Then it was like, nah, bro, what do you do?
Right.
And
Right.
and it's a different energy. So when instructors don't have that and aren't willing to search for it or figure it out,
Right.
it's a disservice.
It's a complete disservice because, and that's something that, like, I mean, that's a whole topic right there. But you see these people on these trainers and whatever instructors on Instagram, and they're doing all these different things and showing all these things and whatever, and it's like people are following them. People are literally following these people, and people that are really crap instructors or crap trainers have these massive followings because they might just like look a specific way, but the information they're giving is inaccurate,
Right.
or it's gonna hurt somebody.
Right.
Like that's my biggest thing. Like I came across some kettlebell stuff the other day on Instagram, and I was like, copied the link. I sent it to my girl Samantha. Shout out to Sam. She is
What
the
up,
kettlebell
Sam,
goddess. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to spell her last name, but anyway. But I sent it to her, and she was like, "Wait, where did you find this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's out there." And she's like, "That is scary."
I seen
Because we put in the work. I put in the work. I know you put in the work to get more education and more knowledge. It's only just it's another tool. Guess what? To put in your arsenal. Shout out to the arsenal. But it is. It's just another tool for you to have more information. And the more information you have, in my opinion, as an instructor, that's when your classes can be how our classes are.
Well, that's how you create the experience.
Right,
Versus just a class.
Because you have the knowledge, now it's like, okay, I already have the foundation, cool. Now it's all about what am I energy-wise bringing to the table with that foundational knowledge.
I've seen some horrible boxing videos on YouTube. And then I think there's this mindset of like, the mantra for some people is like, we settle for less. Meaning, oh, well, at least they're moving. It's the at least thing. Well, at least, yeah, I get it, but I'd rather you actually understand why you need to stay in a certain way in boxing, or why your legs shouldn't be locked in place, or why you should keep your guard up. Like, not telling you to go out and get into a bar fight and see if you can throw a jab cross, hook cross. I just want to.
Who does that in a bar fight? I said, all right, okay, he's coming in. Jab cross.
Yeah, right. Roll and flip and roll.
It.
But it's like, yo, I get more of a satisfaction watching people grow. And when they have their aha moment and they get it.
Man, that's the best thing
ever. Like, on top of keeping them safe and all that. But when they get it and I'm like, hey, step this way and roll. And then one day they do it and I'm like, that's it. And they're like, oh.
Right, you're like that. You're like that. Okay, there you go. That's what it's like being a parent.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, but
I'm just saying, no, that's why I said that. But like, that's how that feels. Like when you see like your kids, they're your kids. Yeah. They're your kids in your class, and when you see them get that, you're like, ah! Like you can't even contain it because you're like, yes, you get it.
Right. It's the same for adults. I mean, I probably won't clap like that, but I feel what you mean. They're like, tripping, bro. He's tripping. So, moving on. Because you've moved to another facility, how is that transition into something of the unknown?
I mean, it's been, I've had moments of challenges. It's just a different, it's very different. It's just a different energy in the space. It's a different vibe. It's a different demographic. I mean, True Fusion is a franchise. It's a smaller, little box, and then I'm at a big box gym now. So it's very different. I mean, we're talking, you got all sorts of, people coming in this space, and, I'm back at rebuilding. I've done this is the second time that I've done this now, so now I'm rebuilding, a following and a community and getting to know that community. So it's been challenging, but it's been really fun. And I think that had it not been for me leaving when I left Rockstar and came to True Fusion and met you and had you in my ear, you know, hey, this, that, helping me out, kind of discover it's okay that you don't know this yet. It's all right that you don't know the space yet. Just be you and it will come. So it's been an easier transition this time around because I have that kind of in the back of my head, like, all right, yes, it's a little bit uncomfortable because it's something new and it's something different, but you already know what's going to come out on the other side of this. Right. It's just going to take a little time, but you already know. I mean, and it's starting already. I mean, people know who I am already there, you know. And so, I mean, we've only been open, like a month, not even a full month yet. You know, so it's, you know, people are just getting to know. Yeah. We've been open just over a month. I shouldn't say that because we opened on the 31st of December. But, you know, it's just getting to know people and the community and stuff like that. So
I think it's interesting that you said, well, I'm rebuilding. I don't know if you realize how much weight that holds because most people don't understand or understand what that means, right? Mm-hmm. Because they see, like, today I had 60 people, probably plus.
But they didn't see when you had the ones and the twos and the threes.
I had Chad working out in the hallway.
Right.
Essentially, like,
yeah.
You know? And people see that and they say, oh, I want that. And I'm like,
you got to put in the work to get there, though.
60 don't show up every Saturday.
No.
Today was just one of those days. A couple people brought their family members who came from out of town. They were actually some from Minnesota, low key.
Shout out to Minnesota, that's where I'm from.
Cold AF.
It is.
I went to the mall there. Anyway, so
random.
Yeah.
I used to work at the mall.
America. I was there. I saw a little, you know. But people think they want that, but they don't want the 10 people. You know what I'm saying? They don't want the rebuild. So it's like I realized. I remember I used to live in the West Valley, and so when I got to Scottsdale, it's because someone told someone, word of mouth. And I was like, oh, they gassed this place up. And it was a dope facility.
Yeah.
But the intro to me was, from my boss, was, we got the best of the best and the who's who in the industry, like the dopest trainers in Scottsdale.
Right.
So I'm like,
no pressure.
I'm like, bruh, I'm about to bring all my stuff, like I'm bringing out the most ridiculous moves, fire ants, square bears, church knee clap, bruh. I'm going from day one.
Wait, does everybody that's listening and watching know what those are?
They have no idea, but you probably should buy my program on Vimeo. But I'm just saying, if you want to know what I'm talking about.
Shameless plug.
And you don't live here. You know what I'm saying?
No, but for real, get the program. It's dope.
So my mindset was like, go in there and give them the A game. Like, okay.
Straight out of the gate.
Oh, was I wrong? Which brings me to my next.
You have to let people crawl before they walk.
Instructors understand that you need to be able to improvise. Because what happened with my mind was, today's the day, I got a class, I'm about to give them this work.
Yeah.
And I was in Lifetime on the West Valley with 80 people in the room that I knew we had the vibe. I had a sock crew in the front that always had the coolest socks, and we had chants and whatever.
Right.
And I could take them there. So I'm like, cool. A couple of them came all the way from the West Side to the grand opening. I'm like, we about to get it in. And when I tell you these people was dying in the first 5 minutes, I was like, bro, I got to
Who is this guy?
I got to tone this all the way. You know, you get lost driving and you turn the music down because somehow it's going to help you find where you're going.
It does. It's a fact. It helps. It helps.
I had to turn me down. Like, they are not ready for it. And so every time you go somewhere new,
they have to get to know you. You have to get to know them. More so, really.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts or what are your experiences as far as like learning to improvise? Because what I'm finding is a lot of people are afraid of that. And I'm not knocking people who follow formats and whatever because somebody created it and that's dope, but I'm a creator.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to jump ship. And so like how do you deal with that in stuff that you teach or have taught, because now you're teaching
before, I mean, I always, when I was at True Fusion, I always had I wrote down on my little notebook, I wrote down the program, what it was going to be, I mean, if I looked at it, I looked at it. Usually I remembered it, you know, just because I wrote it down and went over it a few times. But improvising, I improvised all the time at True Fusion. It was like, all right, I'd watch them like, okay, they need something else. All right, guess what we're gonna do? Kettlebell swings now, you know, just random. But where I'm at now, I teach in a spin room. I know. I said I would never teach spin classes.
Facing the fears.
Facing the fear. Hey,
I got two spinners back to back. Priscilla spin, you spin.
That's right.
I ain't spin.
I mean, I'm not Priscilla spinning level yet, but I'll get there. I'll get to my own level.
Yeah.
But so in the spin class that I'm teaching now, and then there's another room. It's called Studio Red. It's kind of based off of Orange Theory a little bit, but those are both pre-programmed. So where the creativity comes in is in my playlists, because I can make my own playlist. They have pre-programmed playlists for us, but music is what drives me big time. So it's like I need that, and here's a shout. Here's something, instructors.
Message.
Wait, we gotta do it like a message. If you feel the music, they automatically are gonna follow.
Facts.
They'll be right there with you. Like, I don't really listen to a lot of like rock music, heavy metal. That's not really what I listen to. I mean, I'll work out. I like to do push-ups to it, but you know, Rage Against the Machine, you know,
Fire
whatever.
Against the Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff.
Like
my entire playlist today, I was subbing for someone, and I had subbed for him once before, and there was a guy in the class that was like, man, your playlist was awesome. You had some rock music in there. Like, they never play rock music. And I was like, mental note. I know this guy comes every Saturday to this class. So today, I literally created a playlist just for him. It was all like rock music. I mean, 80s, like we're talking like, you know, 80s hair bands, and then like some other stuff in there. But, you know, he was on fire. He was so excited about it. And then the whole entire room was on fire. Everybody was going crazy. But I felt the music originally because I made the playlist, and then he felt it, and it just like elevated the entire experience for everybody.
And that's the thing, when you create an experience, right? Like, my morning classes don't get the same playlist.
No, because it doesn't make sense.
Because in the morning, it's a little more higher levels.
More seasoned.
More seasoned, more
Let's go there.